2017, we had the first pizza shop. And I told everybody, don't be scared, we have the same discussions in Germany. Existential questions. The other explanation I hear from a lot of young, very good, like what are trigger factors for people wanting to leave? And I would divide that into two sectors. The pillars of statehood to, first of all, allow the internal economic development, but then also to attract investment from abroad. Again, who, by the way, should always not address the embassy, but the Kosovar German Business Association, because that's what they're here for. But the question is, how can we get skilled staff? And this is not academic staff, these are technicians, these are technical experts. This is all the thing, to put it that way, about vocational training. So, it's about education, training, skilled workforce, one point. Another point, for example, reliability of energy supplies. If you have very sophisticated machinery, if a potential investor has to go through some kind of juridical process and has the prospect of having to wait for years until he or she gets a decision to move on the project, also difficult. And then, of course, the general, at least that's my personal impression, the grand plan. Like in the whole region, there is a competition right now for establishing businesses, setting up strategies for the economic sector. What are the specificities of this country? What are the added values this country wants to put forward in attracting investors? Like, where do we want to be 10 years from now? And I think to then also bundle government activities together with business on the ground and to actively promote Kosovo as a place for investment, where do we want to go? Where do we want to be in 10, 20 years from here? So I think these are...
Give some background on what we see for 2019 and what we see for the next 2 years, and so that we can put all these constraints for the business environment in a macroeconomic framework. So when you look at the last decade in Kosovo, we actually see a good picture in terms of growth. On average, growth was stable for the last 10 years at about 3.6%. And also during this period, we saw that poverty declined by pro-consumption growth. It declined by slightly more than 1 percentage point between 2012 and 2017, which is a very good sign. In addition to, of course, the business environment and the growth figures, this is very important given that poverty still remains very high in Kosovo, and it's about 18% of the population that live under moderate poverty. So generating opportunities for everyone, creating jobs is actually the main way to also reduce poverty in Kosovo and also other places in the world. If you look at the labor market, we also see positive developments in the post-2014 period, both in the survey data and also in the administrative data. We see higher job creation, however, it wasn't enough to actually absorb the overall unemployment in the economy. However, there is more dynamism in the economy when we talk to also, as you mentioned,
and childcare facility for taking care of the kids, not just in the kindergarten level, but also at childcare daycare level, because in our education system, kids are at school only for a short number of hours, and the rest are being dealt with. So that is also a problem, and also the elderly care component. So I think the government has to have a plan, and it is very time that we start with this policy. The way in which the approach of the previous government was, in our view, did not address this also. They raised different other policy problems, like the problem of population growth and problem of mortality and births in Kosovo, which in our view creates more problems than it solves with the policy measures that they were even though the growth of the population was going down, the biggest problem seemed to be people not leaving. So the birth level is a decline, which is steady decline, it follows a trend, whereas we have a very significant decline when you look at first grade. So if you look at kids that are enrolled in the first grade, we have a significant drop, which is suggesting that it's not a problem with birth, people are actually leaving. So that requires different sets of policies. Now, whenever we discuss about the labor market and some important elements that were already quoted, seem to suggest that there is obviously a structural problem. There is a supply. And a lot of people seem to quote the mismatch in expectations for wages. What we look recently is that across different occupations for both demand and supply, there doesn't seem to be very significant mismatch in wage expectations. The biggest expectation, the mismatch in expectations, seem to come from expectations about working conditions. So in the private sector, there seem to be people are working on longer hours. They don't have contact, which goes back to your question about employment.
The lack of a health insurance, etc. So education can be a qualification momentum, but also a trigger factor for kids and their perspectives on the long run. So I think this really touches a very basic question, and I think there is a lot of creative potential in this country to get their stuff done. But that is, like I said, I didn't mention it in my introduction, one of the many factors is the functioning health system. So this framework thing is hugely important. And to comment on another issue mentioned, statistics and data. Like, this is crucial system. I think there are about 12 countries in the world who are running precisely after that model. I'm not a great friend of just saying one size fits all. So I think there are quite a number of very promising